There is a particular kind of loneliness that can exist in the middle of a full contact list. Dozens of names you could message right now, a group chat that never quite goes silent, plans made and kept with reasonable regularity, and still, somewhere underneath all of it, a quiet uncertainty about which of these people would actually stay if your life became difficult rather than simply entertaining. Why does the presence of many people in your life not always answer the question of who is actually there for you? Why does it take so little time, sometimes, to sense the difference between company and connection? Before we explore this together, subscribe to this channel where we uncover the hidden psychology behind everyday life. Picture a house with many visitors passing through its rooms, some who arrive only when the lighting is warm and the mood is easy, and others who would still knock on the door even if the house were dim, in disrepair, offering nothing particularly enjoyable in return. From the outside, both kinds of visitors look identical. It is only in the harder seasons that the house finally learns who was actually there for the house and who was only ever there for the weather. Carl Jung believed that the persona, the polished self we present to the world, extends easily into friendship, where warmth can be performed convincingly for years without ever being tested. Most friendships never require anything difficult of either person, and so the persona holds, uninterrupted, indefinitely. But what if there existed one small, ordinary test, requiring only 2 minutes, capable of revealing whether a friendship rests on genuine connection or simply on convenient company? Here is the test. Plain and simple. The next time something goes mildly wrong in your life, nothing catastrophic, just inconvenient, mildly disappointing, the kind of small misfortune that rarely earns sympathy, mention it honestly to a friend. Without exaggeration, without performance, and notice within the following 2 minutes where their attention actually goes. Why would something this small reveal anything real? Because true friendship is not most clearly tested by tragedy, which draws attention and sympathy from almost anyone. It is tested by the mundane, the forgettable, the small disappointment that offers no social reward for responding well and no social consequence for responding poorly. Consider what tends to surface in that brief window. Some people, hearing your small disappointment, ask a genuine follow-up question, remaining with your experience for a moment before the conversation moves elsewhere. Others, almost without noticing they are doing it, redirect the conversation back toward themselves within moments. A similar story, a bigger complaint, a subtle reclaiming of the emotional center of the exchange. Was that a coincidence? Or is that 2-minute window simply revealing where a person's attention naturally lives, once nothing meaningful requires them to perform interest in you? Alfred Adler believed that much of human interaction is shaped by an underlying need for significance, and some people, driven by that need more anxiously than others, find it almost impossible to remain fully present in someone else's moment without eventually steering it back toward their own. This does not necessarily make them cruel. It may simply mean that friendship, for them, has always been organized more around being seen than around seeing others. But does knowing this make the absence any less real? The test rarely fails loudly. There is no dramatic dismissal, no visible unkindness. There is simply a quiet redirection, a subtle shift in whose experience occupies the center of the conversation, small enough to miss if you are not paying attention, clear enough to notice fully once you are. Jung might have said this reveals the shadow of a friendship that was, all along, built more around persona than around genuine mutual presence, two people performing closeness convincingly, without either fully arriving in the other's experience. And here is the more uncomfortable question. Turn back toward yourself. In someone else's small disappointment, where does your own attention tend to go? Picture the tree standing bare through winter, appearing from a distance like something finished, without depth. Beneath the surface, unseen, the roots continue their patient widening in the dark. Is discovering the true shape of a friendship, however disappointing, truly a loss? Or is it simply the visible cost of finally seeing clearly what was quietly true all along? This is the turn worth making gently here. Recognizing an imbalance like this is not really about assigning blame or ending every friendship that occasionally falls short of full presence most do, at some point being imperfect the way most humans are imperfect. It is about noticing where genuine mutual attention exists consistently and where it does not, so that your time and trust can be placed more honestly. Jung called this long, uneven process individuation, learning to see relationships as they actually are, rather than as the version your loneliness would prefer them to be. It rarely feels comfortable at first. It tends to feel, initially, like disappointment. Only later does it begin to feel like clarity. So what do you do with a small, quiet disappointment like this, once you notice it clearly? This is where the observer becomes essential, the quiet witness inside you, capable of noticing an imbalance without immediately overreacting to it, or dismissing it too quickly out of loyalty. Not the part of you that rationalizes every redirection as simple distraction. The part that can simply notice, calmly, my small disappointment was met with theirs. And that pattern is worth watching rather than immediately excusing. Seneca often wrote that true friendship reveals itself not in celebration, but in the ordinary moments requiring quiet attention rather than dramatic loyalty, insisting that most people can be counted on for the large gestures, while far fewer remain reliably present for the small ones. Can you notice, without exaggerating the disappointment, exactly how consistently someone's attention returns to your experience, rather than away from it? And here is something worth noticing. If you look honestly, this same small test has likely presented itself before, across many friendships, in many forms, each time revealing something you may have chosen not to fully examine at the time. Why does life seem to offer this same quiet test repeatedly, until it is finally recognized clearly enough to change how you choose who receives your trust? Jung believed that whatever remains unconscious in us tends to reappear in our lives as pattern the same imbalance, wearing a different face, until it is finally seen and responded to honestly. Perhaps this is not simply about one particular friendship. Perhaps it is the newest version of an older question. How long have you been mistaking company for genuine connection? And are you finally ready to tell the difference? Viktor Frankl believed that between what happens to a person and how they respond, a space exists narrow, but entirely their own. You cannot control where someone else's attention naturally goes, but the space between noticing that pattern honestly and continuing to invest in it, unquestioned, that space belongs entirely to you. So, what would it actually look like to respond to what this small test reveals? Not something dramatic, not a single sweeping decision to end every imperfect friendship at once. It might look like noticing, calmly, which friendships consistently return attention to you, and choosing to invest more deliberately in those. It might look like sharing a small disappointment with someone new, simply to observe, without expectation, where their attention goes. It might look like accepting, without bitterness, that some friendships were always built more for company than for depth, and adjusting what you ask of them accordingly. It might look like offering more consciously the kind of 2-minute attention to others that you hope to receive yourself. None of this arrives with fanfare. Jung once suggested that people will do almost anything to avoid seeing a relationship clearly, particularly one they have invested in for years, and if that is true, then simply noticing this pattern honestly, without immediately reacting to it, may already be a significant act of courage. Return, for a moment, to that house, and its many visitors passing through in fair weather. Imagine standing at the door now. Not to turn everyone away, but simply to notice, honestly, which visitors remain when the weather turns difficult, and which ones quietly disappear the moment the house stops being pleasant to visit. Does that make the house lonelier? Or does it simply mean you finally know who actually belongs inside it? And so we return to the question beneath this simple 2-minute test. beneath every small disappointment mentioned in passing, every subtle redirection of attention, every quiet moment of noticing where someone's presence actually lives. What actually remains of a friendship once convenience, timing, and mutual entertainment are finally set aside? What remains when you strip away performance and ask simply, who stays present for the small, unremarkable moments no one else is watching? Jung offered an answer that has outlasted him by nearly a century. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Perhaps the truest friendships were never the loudest or most numerous. Perhaps they were always the quiet ones, patiently passing this small, ordinary test again and again, without either of you ever needing to call it a test at all. If this resonated, subscribe to this channel and join us as we keep uncovering these hidden truths. Has this small test ever revealed something true about a friendship in your own life? Write it in the comments below and let that house, wherever it stands in you, finally welcome only those who were always meant to stay.